Hello, I'm Donald Burton, Senior Sales and Installation Trainer for Armstrong. Today we're going to talk about flat RH200 metal sealing systems. Alright, so we're going to talk about the support mechanism or the support carrier for RH200, and actually most made-to-order metal and some wood systems we use what's called a U-profile. This U-profile is a U-profile, you'll see that the top is out. This is basically the main carrier for the weight of the system. You will see smaller holes and then elongated holes. Those offset by 1 inch off of both sides. So where you have an elongated hole, you have a small one. And then on the opposite of that is an elongated, and then on the elongated on this one, there's a small one on the other side. Those are actually plug holes for the other accessory clips where we support the crossbars on this, depending on the system that we're working with. The way that you look at a U-profile is this is like a main tee for regular acoustical. But instead of it attaching to the wall with wall molding, it attaches to the wall with a universal L bracket that you'll see right here that I already have attached. You can run a screw into that, a self-tapper into the bottom of this. You can also connect it to the side of the actual U-profile. It doesn't have to be underneath. Either way is acceptable. So on your U-profile, you're going to actually use 12 gauge hanger wire just like you would for any acoustical sealing, 4 foot on center. You're going to line those up with either the smaller hole or the elongated hole on the side of the U-profile. Set your laser just like you normally would for leveling, bend your wire, and the wire actually goes into one of those holes and then actually folds over for leveling. Okay, on the U-profile, in order to put what we would call the cross tee, in this particular case for RH200, it is called a J-bar. And it actually installs with this product right here, which is a J-bar hanger. You will see that it has a slot and then 2 wings on each side of it. You'll also see a square hole and a round hole actually in this. Basically what happens is this slides over the U-profile and it'll line up with one of the squares in here that, again, 1 inch increment either from this side or to the other side. It lines up with those squares, and then there is a plug that actually goes in that looks like this. That plug will go in and just stab right into the hole, and it'll look like this to actually lock that hanger in place. Okay, so once your U-profile is actually installed, what you will do is you will look at your set of drawings from Architectural Specialties. That will dictate where the actual cross J-bar goes in, which is your panel support. You'll then put this J-bar support bracket in place, line it up with one of those square holes, and lock it into place with the clip. If for some reason it doesn't fall on an even number, what you can do is you can, instead of putting the plug into the square hole, you can actually run a self-tapper into the hole at the top of the clip and it'll lock it into place. But the dimension will be on your drawing. That's where you get that information. So the cross tee in this particular case is what we call a J-bar for RH200. And it's called a J-bar because it's shaped like a J. Now the J-bar comes in 12-foot lengths, can be cut to size in the field with your standard metal cutting tools, circular saw, jigsaw, hacksaw. You can actually cut these into place. If you have runs that are longer than 12 foot in length, what will happen is we actually make what's called a J-bar splice. And that J-bar splice will allow for these two pieces to come together, and you just basically slide them together. They lock into place on the top and on the bottom. You use a nut driver, and then you'll actually come in and just tighten these in place, and it will lock the actual splice on the J-bar together, and then you have a nice positive attachment. Nothing sits on top. Everything is resting on the bottom J, so this doesn't affect anything. Okay, so once you have your J-bar hangers in place at the right direction, also on your set of drawings, what you will find is it will show you the direction of the J-bar. So pay attention to your drawings that you get on a made-to-order project like this, and it will tell you the direction of your J-bar. In this particular installation, the J-bars are all running the same direction. So we're going to take the top of the J-bar and we're going to engage it into the J-bar hanger on the bottom slot. So you basically lift this into place. This slides into those hangers. And then once you've got those engaged, the two wings that you saw earlier will then fold down. Now that those are folded down, that J-bar is locked into place. Okay, so what we see here is we basically now have the support structures up. Your U profile, which is like your mains, your J-bars, which are your cross tees, which is what the panel engages. Hanger wires are 4 foot on center on this, just like any other acoustical ceiling system. And then your spacing of your U profile and your J-bars are actually listed on your set of drawings. Okay, so an RH200 panel is in different sizes depending on what the actual job requires. There are 4 sides to the panel. There are 2 sides which are on the short side, which are hooks. One is a elongated hook, the other one is a short hook. We call those falls. In this particular case, it's a fall 4A and a fall 4B that actually hooks this. So on the back part of the panel, when you have a perforation, you will have fleece or felt. It's actually attached to the panel. Then what you will find, depending on the panel, is either gasket on one side, 2 sides, 3 sides, or 4 sides, depending on what's required. So you will actually see gasket on the panel, and the panel will come with a gasket attached to it. Okay, so again, the panel has a hook on the short side on both sides. They are elongated hook, so you will see this one has a deeper hook on it, and if we come down to the other side, you'll see that this hook, it's going the same direction, but it's a shallow hook. To engage the panel onto the J-bar, long hook first, hook it on the actual J-bar, then you bring the opposite side up, which is the shorter hook, and it shifts, and it pushes up and locks into place. So we're going to engage the next panel on the same row. Now what you will see is the end of this panel has gasket on this panel that I'm installing, but the adjacent one that it's hooking to, there's no gasket. You will never have a panel without gasket. Long hook goes over the short hook on the first panel you put up, then you lift up to the next J-bar and it comes over and it sets in place. Okay, so we're going to continue on our row. You'll see that we have gasket. We have no gasket on this panel. This panel will now touch this panel, but it will touch against the gasket. Again, long hook up first, lift the panel, slide it into place, and just slide it over until it touches the actual foam. Okay, this is the hold down spring for RH200 and a J-bar. You will need 2 per panel. It will also be detailed on your drawings. To engage this, you use this curved part first, goes over the top of the actual J-bar. Then this is going to rotate up and push over the J-bar. And then this spring comes below and it will snap down onto the face of the J-bar. So the spring on the edge of the J-bar holds the panel down, but the panel is still 100% accessible. When you push up on the panel, the spring itself will actually move. RH200 can also be a curved ceiling system, using the same style of hooks on both ends of the panel, only we're curving the panel. The difference between flat RH200 and curved RH200 is one side of the J-bar is actually lowered. We achieve that by using 1/4 inch threaded rod and a specialty hook for the U profile that holds the threaded rod. For the curved RH200 system, with the threaded rod hanger, the bolt always goes to the bottom of the U profile and it slides over it, and then the threaded rod sits in this, and then you tighten it to lock this in place. Those dimensions will be on your drawings on how far that hangs down and where the placement of it is. Once you have the hanger, the threaded rod hanger in place, come back in and tighten the bottom nut, which will absolutely secure the threaded rod from coming out. So now that the threaded rods are actually installed, you'll fasten the J-bar with the holes at the top of the J-bar by inserting those into the threaded rod, and then you'll put a nut on the back side. So all RH200 panels hook on the same way. Pay special attention to the direction of your J-bar on your installation instructions. Panels just go up and hook on your J-bar on both sides. If a flat ceiling would engage to a curved ceiling system, since the hooks are the exact same, they would just engage the exact same way from one panel to the next. RH200 is one of our many metal capabilities in a made-to-order ceiling system. For more information, contact your representative and let's work on a project together. To learn more about RH200, contact your local Armstrong representative or go to armstrongceilings.com/metalworks.